What's good, family? Haha, it's always good to be here. Good to be back on the channel, back on the show, how it all works. Man, excited for this conversation tonight. It's going to be good, and we're going to dive right into it. We're not going to prolong that thing, but I just want to say a word of welcome to those that are with us, hanging out in the chat already. I see a couple of you. Seesaw Studio says, "What's up, everyone?" William Freeman says, "Hello from deep in the heart of Texas." Come on. I see you out there. I love it. Michael Fleming says, "Thank you. I love your background." What? Look at that. And my mentor, my good friend, just recently had him on the show in Black History Month. Bryant Taylor, man, winner of our award, the Trailblazer Award, the 2023 How It All Works Trailblazer Award. Bryant Taylor, BT, thank you so much for being here, man. He's putting in the chat HIAW. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for keeping folks into the space. Listen, make sure you guys are sharing. I want to make sure you guys are sharing. Tag some folks. We're live both on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to hang out with us tonight. I've got my guest. He's already raring and ready to go. Look, some of the conversation, we had to put a pause on it because it was like, man, we need to have this conversation in the show. So my guest is already in, and we're excited about that, man. But listen, before we do that, we got to get into the news.
Your number one source for live video news.
Yeah. So real quick. Latest video on the channel is repurpose your StreamYard live shows and recordings as shorts. I'm not even going to stay much time on it. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It dropped yesterday. You know, my videos drop on Sundays on the channel, so I want to make sure you guys get a chance to check that out. And then I also want to make sure you guys know what's happening next week. Our content entrepreneurs and small businesses incubators. Incubators, what a term. I wonder where that's going. If you want to find out, we're giving a little sneak peek, a little preview next week of some new things to come. We're closing out this season of How It All Works in the month of April. So this month of April will be the final few shows of How It All Works. And then we'll be looking towards a new project that my wife and I are embarking on. And this show will kind of give you some of the groundwork, some of the framework for that. So I'm excited about that. How many of you are familiar with a little bot called Bard? A little bot called Bard, B-A-R-D. Bard. Bard is taken from Shakespeare. It's Google's AI powered, I would say, Chat GPT competitor. What's funny is the article that I was reading about Bard is it talks about the writers actually asking Bard, you know, how well do you do? How do you compare to ChatGPT? And Bard is like, well, I think we're the same. I think we're very similar, but you know, I have more personality than ChatGPT. I was like, wow, it is crazy how these conversations are happening with artificial intelligence. It's really a whole new world that is emerging, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. Bard is by Google, and I've signed up to see if I can get early access to test that bad boy out. Some of the platforms that I follow have already gotten access, so I've been reading some of them and living vicariously, but I wanted to make sure you guys heard it here. There's a number of ways that AI is influencing content creation and live streaming. So I wanted to make sure that you guys get a chance to see that. Oh, we got Chris Stone in the chat. Ah, man, thank you so much for being here, Chris. We appreciate you. I see Linda's in the chat as well. Says hello, everyone in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We truly appreciate it. Truly appreciate it. Listen, this week has been no shortage. There's been no shortage of updates from our streaming platforms. Oh, wow. I put that back up, from our streaming platforms. So I want to share two of them from EV Mux. First is multi-camera. multi-camera. So within the browser-based studio provided by EVMux, you can actually connect more than, actually it's up to 3 cameras. I literally just did the video for this that will go on the EVMux YouTube channel. So look out for that. Make sure you subscribe to the EVMux YouTube channel, because you'll see yours truly on there. Sharing with you guys some of the tips, tricks, best practices on how to use the platform. But yes, you can add multiple. So imagine you have 3 webcams connected to your computer. You can select all 3 of them in EVMux. In the example that I did, I had 2 webcams. One is my Sony ZV-E10. Of course, one is the built-in webcam for the laptop. And then the last one is a continuity camera from my Apple iPhone, right? So I was able to connect all 3 of them. Now, I hope that you guys are catching that thing, because you can't do 3 on any of the other platforms. You can do 1 additional camera, but you cannot do 3. So keep that in mind. This is something that's pretty cool. I love the direction that EVMux is taking us. And listen, they have not missed any steam, no missteps whatsoever. They also have in their web sources. Does everybody know what web sources means? Does everybody know what web sources is? Web sources. Now, to be clear, in a browser-based studio, most of us cannot do web sources. Web sources meaning things like widgets, things like stream. What's the term I'm looking for? Basically the stuff that comes up when you have a new subscriber, when somebody does a super chat, those animations that pop up on screen, those are all basically web sources that you can utilize. So web sources is a new addition, one of the latest features that has been added to EVMux. I see you out there, Micah Flemings, with your question. I'm going to go ahead and star your question. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I wanted to make sure you guys know that that is there for EVMux. Of course, StreamYard will not be left out. They said, no. We are creating custom layouts for StreamYard, and I have a video that I'm working on for that. In fact, I was on the town hall last night with Dan and Gage, and a few people were in the chat asking about, hey, is there any tutorials on custom layouts? It's a bit much. You see, this is what I love, because there isn't a right or wrong way, because they've kind of opened up this platform and said, you do with it as you please. People are needing some guidance, and I'm going to be able to frame those walls for them, help them understand what are some of the opportunities and pitfalls that they need to be mindful of as they utilize this new feature from StreamYard. StreamYard, create custom layouts in StreamYard. Absolutely awesome. Our final news point for the day is not something that's new. You know, it's fairly new, but I did want to highlight it here because we had not highlighted it before. Pinterest quietly launches a live streaming app for video creators. Pinterest, y'all. I was on a discovery call with a client, and they were like, hey man, I want to stream to Pinterest. And I remember sitting there saying to myself, oh, 1 second, and starting Googling. And I'm like, oh, snap, Pinterest launched live streaming. that was not a thing a little bit ago. But yeah, they launched a new app aimed at making it easier for creators to live stream to its platform. The new Pinterest TV Studio app for iOS and Android will allow select creators to go live on Pinterest, as well as use multiple devices in order to achieve different camera angles. Imagine that. So that's pretty cool. The company didn't announce the app's debut, perhaps because it's not broadly available to all creators at this time. Instead, upon first launch, creators have to enter in a code or scan a barcode that Pinterest provides in order to gain access to the live streaming tools the app provides. So I wanted to make sure you guys are familiar with this. Yes. Linda says, what? I got to check this out. This is why we do this. This is why we got to share these items in the news. This dropped a little bit ago, but as the article stated, it is not widely announced. Pinterest didn't even make a big deal about it because it is not accessible to the broad public just yet. So of course, I went ahead and created a Pinterest account and tried to sign up. Listen, if it can live stream, your boy Kirk Nugent's got to be in there, man. It's called live. So yeah, definitely excited about Pinterest joining the live video gang, right? joining the live video gang. And for those that don't know, Pinterest is Google. Uh-oh. Pinterest is Google. This is one of the other screenshots I took that kind of showcase how you can use multiple phones from multiple angles for Pinterest. But I'm excited tonight that we're going to get a chance to dive in with Earl Hall, my guest. He is an author. He is a coach. He is a content creator. What he does not say, these are the three things he told me to put in his title. But what he did not say there, that he is a voice actor. And we're excited to have him on. And we're excited to dive into the content side of voice acting. Let's go.
How it all works. Let's welcome our guest.
Yes.
What's going on, Kirk?
What's going on, Earl?
Man, we about to do this.
Man, I am excited. I'm excited for First of all, excited to have you on. You have been part of the community. You have been following along. We've met in the Ecamm community. I know you're also a streamer as well, and somebody that I've looked to from time to time. Excited about the new book. Congrats to you on that. But man, this is a long time coming. I knew you would have it. This is a long time coming. We're excited to have you on today. I see some folks in the chat already saying, welcome, Mr. Hall. We're excited to have you in the space with us tonight, man. This is going to be a great time. But man, listen, how are things? I want to start off right there. How are things, man? How are things going for you?
Man, things are good, man. Out here in North Kakalaki.
Kakalaka.
Yeah, just north of Charlotte there, living in the country boy back in the country.
There you go. There you go.
going real good. Loving life and just excited, just about every day. Just excited about things that are happening and things that I'm making happen.
There it is.
Which is the thing, because things don't just happen by themselves. You got to put in that work. You got to put in the work.
Listen, man, you already coaching. You're already coaching, man. You're already coaching. Man, we got a couple of folks in the chat. Linda is saying, welcome, Mr. Hall. We got Seesaw Studios saying, welcome. Let's go. Cyrus Webb says, what's good, Earl Hall?
My boy Cyrus is in the house.
That's what I'm talking about. He had to put it in there twice. Ralph Tolles.
Kirk. No, I'm not gonna let him get it. He's messing with me.
Okay.
A lot of times when I start my live streams and I get on air, I start off, what's good?
What's good?
So he's messing with me, but that's all right. I'm gonna get him later.
No, that's good, man. I love to see that. We're excited that all of you are here with us hanging out tonight. And we want to make sure you guys get a chance to chat it up with us. We want to engage with you as well. But listen, man, this is your first time on the show here at How It All Works, and we want to make sure that the audience gets their two favorite questions. These are the two. I always start with those. The two favorite questions. We want to get those answered right now. So take a little bit of time and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, your story, and what a typical week looks like for you. All right. I know you're serving content creators, you're serving business owners and voice actors, but talk to us about who you are, a little bit about a background of yourself. We're going to get into your origin story in terms of content creation in the second question. Okay. But this one, we just want to kind of familiarize ourselves with the greatness that is Earl Hall Studio. Come on, talk to us, man.
Well, I'm a husband, father of four.
There it is.
Have been an entrepreneur pretty much going all the way back to 1999, basically. I can take it back there. But have a great family that has really been supportive of the things that I do and aspire to do. Because as I'm sure you know, being an entrepreneur, it takes a lot. I mean, you are, people talk about what time management or whatever, how you're going to balance things. Yeah. It's like, I haven't found that balance yet. It's like, what I'm doing is what I'm doing. If I'm spending time with family, it's all about family. If, I'm sitting here and I'm doing work, I'm sitting here doing work, besides messing with Cyrus, every now and then the other day. But, it's doing the things that I do. It inspires me. It makes me happy, not because of what I'm doing, but because of what I see people doing with the information that I give them. That is where my inspiration comes from. And I tell my group all the time, I got some in here right now. I know William's in here. He's one of my folks in my group. And, those folks are the ones that actually inspire me. I mean, day to day, I'm creating content, I'm producing videos, I
Mm.
am coaching, I'm trying to figure stuff out, because that never ends, Kirk. It
Never.
never
So
ends.
good.
You trying to figure these new things that are coming out with the chat GPTs, all the AI,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that, we can't even talk about audio and cameras. I mean, that kind of stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for Diana Gladney, I don't know how I'd be using my ZVE10. Um,
Honestly. You could say that like 50 more times.
exactly. That woman is something else.
Absolutely.
But just making sure that I'm staying on point, and even giving another shout out to Cyrus. Cyrus is a business coach himself, and he coaches me a lot and keeps me on point. And it's good to have a good friend like that, someone that can actually call you out, right?
Mm.
Can
We need
actually
those.
call you out.
Yeah.
You know, those types of things are important, and it's why the people that I coach, I want to make sure that I keep them in that vein as well. It's like, look,
Mm.
this is how it needs to go down. We can't sit here and make excuses
Nah.
for everything. And I mean, I find flaws every day in myself, So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a work in progress. Just pray for me, y'all. I'm definitely
Listen,
a work in progress.
listen, it is necessary. It is necessary. The growth requires introspection. Growth requires
Mhm.
time to be able to review and to go back and say, this worked, this didn't. Let me recalibrate. Let me adjust. Let me iterate. Let me get to the next level. But growth also requires an external eye to be
Mhm.
able to really reach some of those levels, and that's
And you
really
got to
what
be able
coaching
to
is
be
all
honest
about.
with yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's
If
it.
you're
That's
not
it.
honest with yourself, it's not even going to matter. If
Oh man.
when those changes come up and you are looking in that mirror and you can see those things, but you refuse to change them, just like scripture talks about a man that looketh in the
Mm,
mirror and straightway forgets the type of man he is.
that's
It's
it.
like if you constantly are doing that, and I've been guilty of it, you know, but at some point, I mean, I don't have the grade for nothing. But it's like at some point you gotta own your own stuff.
That's
And
it.
that's what I'm trying to really dig into on myself for myself as well
That's
as the
that.
clients that I have.
That's a really good segue point. I don't want to miss some of the some of the comments that are coming in. I love this. Yeah, yeah. I see David Hunt is in the comments. I see William, as you mentioned already, is in the
Yeah.
comments. Linda is in the comments as well. Said time management. If you're always hungry for new things, my time is on that. Wanting to learn new things. Let me tell you, there's being a lifelong learner is not
Yeah.
a catchy thing to say.
Mhm.
No, that's quite literally to be that student who's always learning and not afraid to accept new concepts and ideas and practices wherever they might come from, even if it's from what is supposed to be a student.
Yeah.
So I love the way that was framed, man. Let me put this other question on screen before we get too far off script. How did you get started in social media? Right? What's your creator origin story? You talked about your whole content creator week,
Mhm.
different things that you're creating, videos and in your groups, and you're doing the coaching. And man, how did you get started? What was that impetus? Tell us that origin story, man.
Well, this is funny because I'll be 54 years old this year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
my content creation journey started when I was 30. That's
Mm.
1999. That was the year my first child was born.
Wow.
1999, right? And here's how it is, because 1999, there was no Facebook, there was no
Mm-mm.
YouTube,
Mm-mm.
there was nothing like that, right? But I started looking into it was mostly about blogs and things back then. But then if we jump to 2004,
Right.
is where I got into internet radio.
Mm.
2004. So now I'm producing an internet radio station. At the time, it was a gospel station that I had. So I'm on there. And of course, I can go live. What was it? Live 365 is what I think it was called.
Come
Live365.com.
on.
They
Talk
may
about
still
it.
be in existence. I'm not sure. But that's when, I started getting into obviously the audio portion of that. Video really wasn't a thing. Uh,
Mm.
in 2004. I don't think YouTube even came into existence till 06, 07, along with Facebook around the same time. So I'm doing all this stuff with audio production and things like that, getting my audio right. And that's when I, kind of got the bug for voiceover at that time. And then you jump into around 2006, 2007, when I first started creating video. When YouTube came out, I mean, back when all you had was, the fuzzy, the visual was fuzzy, and you didn't have appropriate cameras and things like that. But and now everybody was watching cat videos, back then.
Yeah. People don't remember that about YouTube.
Oh yeah, well, I've one of the few that have been around pre-internet. At this point, I said to my daughter, or was it my son? I said to one of my kids a couple of weeks ago, and I just happened to mention dial-up, and they're like, "What?
No, I remember dial-up clearly.
You don't feel old until you say
no, that thing will smack you between the eyes right there.
Like, what are you talking about? But it's like we remember the pain of those days, going back all the way to AOL and stuff like that, and Netscape browsers.
Ooh, Netscape.
I'm dating myself. Let me stop.
We used to use the AOL CDs as coasters, man. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But I mean, I remember having one of those little cameras. They were like about this tall and about this wide, and
I remember that. I can't remember the name of it.
On the top of it, in front of it. That's what I used to record a lot of YouTube videos.
What was that thing called?
I can't remember. That camera. I know it's in my garage.
It looks like a square. It's almost like the original Instagram icon, right? It's almost what it looked like. Man.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna.
I mean, this is the iPhone 14, so it's about this big, and you just point it at yourself and record. That was just going back in the day, and this is obviously pre-live streaming.
Now that's really gonna plague me, man. What camera is that?
that is pre-live streaming even at the time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the beginning of my origin story, and then getting into it and really sticking with it. And I got serious on YouTube. It was about 2015, 2016, where I started developing my audience for voiceover. And helping people. The tagline is basically start, build, and grow a successful voiceover business. That's the tagline that I use and have used forever. With that, and just built an audience. Right now, we're just over 15K subscribers on the channel, and building a little community out, and I'm able to just reach out and give information that I think voiceover artists are interested in, that are looking to get into the business and have been in the business but are looking to grow the business. So that's what we do, and it's why I got these 2 books out. It's why I wrote these books. Steps to Voiceover Success and Becoming a Voice Actor is my latest book. But I mean, the information is there. It's just a matter of going out and getting it, because voiceover is not an easy career field to be in. Well, I say that as if being an entrepreneur is easy anyway. But I always tell people, look, if you're looking for an easy button to press, I don't have one.
There's not. There's not.
No, it's going to take some work. It's going to take work.
Yeah, it looks like work. It feels like work. It tastes like work because it's work. Man, that's so good, man. I love to hear these origin stories. This is this is definitely the reason why my audience is always bent on, just let's make sure we ask at least these 2 questions. Somebody said in the chat, like, man, 1999, wow, what a journey you've had. That's absolutely amazing. When we hear those perspectives, internet radio, I remember the term, but I don't know that I was involved in media as much at the time when that was a thing. But I remember much of the things you kind of shared, some of that there. I remember Blog Talk Radio was a thing. I remember there was a couple other little
Blog Talk Radio.
It's still a thing. I remember some of those, types of pseudo live scenarios, Boinks TV and what was it? There's another one. There's another term. But anyway, this is before live stream became a thing. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank, but I remember those iterations of how people were getting information out there. And at the time, man, I remember you could go live on something like on something like one of those platforms, and you could have hundreds of people watching because it was just such a novel thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's like who knows how to do this? How can you do
Crappy
this?
video and all. You know,
Yeah, terrible video. Not like this where
Yeah.
folks can
Nowhere
reach
close.
out and touch. No,
Yeah.
no, terrible video, and yet people would engage. So so many different ways that we can think about content creation, but then I love how you have really merged that with your passion and love, which is voice acting, and I love your tagline, right? Build and say the tagline one more time for me.
Start, build, and grow a successful voiceover.
Start, build, grow. Start, build, grow. Start, build, grow. That's awesome. That is awesome. Here's what I want our audience to do in the chat. Let us know some of the ways we are impacted, some of the ways that we consume voice acting and voice content in our everyday lives. Like, if real talk, their voice acting or voice content is there all day, every day. It is in multiple different ways of our everyday lives. We're not talking about anything special, but it's a part of, it's just there, and you don't even recognize it until somebody actually points it out to you. And that's why I wanted to put this question up there. This one is not for Earl. This one is for you guys. I want you to engage with us now. We've got 12, 13, 14 people on YouTube. We got another handful over on Facebook. Talk to us in the chat. What are some ways that voice acting and voice content impacts us on a regular basis? Even in all the different things that you might be doing, where is voice used, and how is it used that you are consuming it and you are able to use that to be able to get instruction, to be able to do different things. I'm trying to give it away almost.
Yeah.
But voice is there. Like, I'll give you the most common one that we probably use regularly every day is GPS. There's a voice that is there. Now personally, I turned the turn by turn directions. I turn that off. I just look at the screen, especially if I'm at home in my own city. I just want to know the specifics of that last part of the journey, like the last few turns to get to the place that I'm supposed to be going. But voice is there. Now, Ralph Toll says toys. There's voice in toys as well. There's, you pull a little string from the Buzz Lightyear doll, and it says to infinity. There's voices there in toys as well. That's a great one, Ralph. Anybody else want to chime in on where and how voice is impacting us? I just got back from a trip. I was in Nashville this past week, and then before that, I was in social media marketing world in San Diego, and I went through a couple different airports. So I went through San Diego Airport, the Charlotte Airport, and then, of course, to the Huntsville Airport. And there's voice. There was voice all over in the airport, in the plane, as I was getting in the Uber, right? Voice is literally peppered throughout that experience. Now, Seesaw Studio has come with a list. K-Walk Comedy says audiobooks, podcast, video, B-roll, voiceover, church announcements. Listen, even as I was playing the little bumper video to go into our news segment, there was a voiceover that says your number one source for live video news. This is one of my guys that I had to do that bug for me. But the idea is that voice is every commercials, somebody says, faceless videos on K-Walk Media says, voice is everywhere. And one of the things I want to make that connection, a lot of times when we talk about voice acting and voice content, we don't always make the connection that voice is actually used more than video is. And do you know why that's true? Because everywhere video is used, voice is used, but not necessarily that everywhere voice is used is video used.
Yeah.
You see what I did there? And so, radio commercials, specifically podcasts. YouTube just launched podcasts, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, I just got my button for podcasts. So I'm going to be creating my playlist of How It All Works podcasts on YouTube now. And that's all audio, all voice. And there's so many different things you can do with voice. There's ways that you can emote with voice. In fact, I was talking to a good friend of mine at Social Media Marketing World, and he said, he told me the story about Ernest Hemingway being at a bar with all these other writers. You're gonna love this one, Earl.
Mm.
He's at a bar with all these other writers, and they made this challenge, saying, "Okay, let's write a story in 10 words or less." And they were like, now let's make it 15 words. Nobody can write a 10-word story. And he's like, well, I just wrote a story in 6 words. They were like, no way, you can't write a story in 6 words. So Hemingway says, let me share it with you. And he reads these 6 words. I shouldn't be laughing because it's actually very serious. Hopefully you get it. And the 6 words are, baby shoes for sale, never used.
Mm.
Baby shoes for sale, never used.
Mm.
And you will take that and make of it what you will.
Exactly.
My point is, there's ways that you can use words to elicit a response. There are times where you go soft. There are times where you get loud. There's times where you put a lot of energy into voice. There's times where you want to mellow it out a little bit, where you really want to get a point across. And those who are good, follow me, at content creation are good at delivering with their voice.
It's got to be. I mean, everything that you were just talking about as far as the delivery goes is, I mean, you can't be monotone as a voice actor. You can't be monotone as a content creator. You
can't.
You've got to be able to have some intonation in your voice. You've got to have some inflections, you know, when you want to get real serious, you know, you gotta, this is your tool. This is your instrument, the voice.
That's it.
Because even with content creation or doing live streams or videos or things like that, you cannot, I mean, people will forgive bad visuals, but not
all the bad stuff. Yes.
Right.
All the bad visuals.
Right. So, and we say that all the time, right? It's become cliche, but we say that all the time. But if you can add some sort of emotion or something into what it is that you're doing, nobody's going to just listen to you being monotone the whole time.
Exactly.
To be entertained. Yeah.
Exactly. They're I can't tell you how many of these types of comments I get on my YouTube videos. People will send me messages like, man, I was watching one of your videos and the tone and texture, the timbre of your voice just kind of lulled me into a good place, to such that when the video finished, I'd forgotten that I was watching a video and I had to go back to actually watch the video for the reason for which I turned the video on in the first place. And I just thought that was hilarious. But again, it's one of those things where you're not just telling a story with the words you're saying, you're telling the story with how you say the words that you're saying.
Yeah.
It all comes together to make the feast that is content.
It's the thing that even being a voiceover coach and having coached people through doing like demo reels, because every voice actor needs a demo reel.
Gotta have one. That's right.
Is that they do. And so, I mean, I can remember several instances trying to coach somebody through something. And in a demo reel, you don't want every clip to sound the same. There's got to be some difference in each clip. You can't, and it's like, well, you sound exactly the same in every script you're reading. You've got to, you know, why don't you try saying it this way? And I performed it for that person, and they read it exactly the same way over again. It's like, no, well, try this.
Try this.
They couldn't get it. It's like, this does take talent. And so with people that want to do whatever it is you want to do as an entrepreneur, but we're talking about voice actors, it's like I say all the way from the beginning, if you don't have the talent, if you don't have that skill set right there to be able to voice, it's going to be an uphill battle for you to learn that. You may be able to learn it, but I don't know. I don't know that you'll be able to learn it. Because the technical stuff, like understanding your DAW, digital audio workstation, the software you use to record your voice with, that's one thing to learn. And there's a lot to dig into that. But that's more of a technical skill, and you can pretty much learn that. You press this button, move this fader, whatever it is, you do that. But the skill of the talent that you have, you either have it or you don't. I have learned that, and I see that in a lot of different industries with entrepreneurs. They want to do this, they want to do that, they want to live stream, they want to do whatever. It's like, but you have to have the talent to do it. And I think Gary Vee says it more forcefully than anyone else.
Yes, he does.
You know, It's like, look, if you suck, it's it's kind of how he puts it, right?
Yeah.
So it's whatever it is that we want to do and excel at. I mean, you've got to
Mercy.
find the thing that you actually do excel at and go
And
for
we
that.
all have a thing, but
Absolutely.
it may not be this. One of the things I also love, and I think that this is what I take from this is it. Even if you don't intend to be a voice actor, it is a skill to be honed, even in regular, everyday communication with your family. If you're an entrepreneur and you haven't delved into the dynamics of voice for a pitch, for a prospective client that you're looking to do a demo for, if you haven't delved into what that delivery looks like and how I can use voice to create a visual feast that they will want to take more of, right?
Tonality.
A good friend of mine says, people tell me all the time that they're not speakers, and they say that to me with words.
I heard
while
you say
speaking.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, right? I mean, we have, somebody said it in the chat, this is the ability to speak is something that we learn in as a child, but we delve into the dynamics of it. There's a reason. A good friend of mine, she's I don't know if you're familiar with Kat Mulvihill. So she's gone into the deep end where, voice is concerned in terms of, emotion and eliciting responses. And she uses it in for businesses, especially as they engage with people over Zoom and other virtual platforms. How do you create an environment that is conducive of conducting business successfully, right? Because it can be an environment for conducting business, but not necessarily successfully. One of the things that we definitely want to ask Earl is we've talked about content creation, we've delved into voice, and we've kind of see voice now everywhere. And I'm telling you guys this as you're watching, whether you're catching this on the podcast, whether you're catching this in a replay, or if you're with us live right now. As you continue to down that rabbit hole of where else am I hearing voice, you will start to see it pop out everywhere. Yeah. You're like, oh, there's a voice actor. Oh my goodness, I'm on the bus. There's a voice actor. I'm on the train. There's a voice actor. One of my favorite ones that I share with folks is I did a countdown, right? Missile launch. I live in Huntsville, and so the Arsenal is like, oh, we need somebody to do the countdown for the missile launch. 59, 58, right? These are voice actors. Yeah. This is a gig that I was able to book, and I'm saying you're going to start seeing those everywhere. And so we want to ask you, Earl, to share with us what your process is for creating voice content, and how it is different or similar, or is it a base for how you create video content?
Well, when you talk about creating voice content, like how would I produce a voiceover?
Yeah. Walk us through the mechanics. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So basically, every time what happens if a voice actor is hired, it's a script involved. And so you're going to get a script from that person that is hiring you to do that, whether it's a podcast intro or you selling a product or service for them or whatever. So you're going to get a script. And usually with that script, they're going to give you an idea of how they want it read. Like, I want this to be serious, or I want this to be kind of humorous the way that you do this, or can you do it kind of like in a, they'll give you some sort of description, of what they're thinking. Because here's the thing too, when a voice actor is hired, or should I say chosen to voice something, one of the things, and I learned this really pretty much out of the gate when I started being a voice actor, the person that is hiring you already has a voice in their head. It's already there. And now they're searching for a voice actor that matches the voice that they already have in their head. And so I tell voice actors, you can't take this personal. You just can't. It's like they already know what they've heard. Now they're trying to hear it outside of their head. So you're going to pick that actor as long as you have the talent, the skill, you can produce great audio, that type of stuff. If all of that is there, then you're the one that's going to get the job with that. And so you get the script, you will read the script. You'll probably send it to the client just to have them check it out to see if this is appropriate. And then after that, depending on what that audio is for, they may want you to add in background music, sound effects, things like that. So you've recorded your voice inside of your DAW, digital audio workstation, the software they use to record your voice with. I use Adobe Audition. A lot of voice actors use like Audacity, something like that.
Something like that.
But you'll edit and process your voice. In something like a commercial, you'll notice this now that I'm saying it, the next time you hear a commercial, what you won't hear in a commercial is you never hear breaths.
Those are not there.
They're not there. So that's when you're going through this, one of the first things you do is you take out your breaths, and there's plugins you can use in DAWs to be able to do that literally automatically. The software will recognize what a breath is and take it out. Then after that, if you need to do noise reduction, you'll do noise reduction to take out any background noise or ambient noise that may be there if you're not working inside of a decent area to record in.
Yeah, treated room with stuff.
If you're not in a treated room, you're already behind the right. So there's noise reduction, and then there's EQ after that, maybe to roll off some of the bass, maybe bring up mids, maybe bring up highs. And after that, it is about compression. And all compression is, it's basically, it brings the highs, it brings the loudest parts down and the softest parts up. So what compression does, it kind of makes it fat.
Yeah.
And makes it more in your face, like what you hear in a radio commercial, right? That's kind of what that compression does. And then you would normalize that to like a -3 dB or even a -1 dB. Decibels is what dB stands for. And then you add in, now the actual work begins. Right.
Yeah.
If you have,
we just, all that is just as a prep work. We're laying the foundation. Go ahead.
Well, you're done if there's nothing else to do as far as adding background music, because now, guess what you got to do, Kirk? You got to figure out the music that goes with it.
Yeah.
That right there is a skill. Because no one that hires you is going to say, use this background music. They don't have any. It's like, so you've got to have that ear to hear. And people have asked me several times, well, how do you pick background music? And I was like, I don't know anymore how I do it, but the first thing I do is I lay down my voice, so I have my voice. But when I hear the music that fits that, I know it, and that's the music I select. And that's just the part I've gotten to. If I hear it, okay, that's it. So I'm going through, I use artlist.io. So I'm going through artlist.io, listening to music, and stuff like that, and trying to figure that out. And then if there's any sound effects that need to go in with that, then I'll add those sound effects in there too, whether it's like a baby crying or a phone ringing or iPhone doing something or whatever, that you need in there. And then once that's done, you mix all of that together, master it, and then you send that off to the client. That is the process for a VO job.
Wow. Now listen, can we do a round of applause? Like that walkthrough was a masterclass in and of itself. And I see my good friend Chris Stone is in the chat, says music is life. Music is life. And I see you, Miss Tanya TV. I see you, G Albert. I see your questions. I've starred them. I'm going to come back to those in a little bit. But I do want to catch this comment from 24-Hour Boss. He says, I just had a thought yesterday about doing a video on using your voice for content. Thanks for sharing this topic of discussion. Fire. And then he or she came back again and says, this is scary and exciting all at the same time as I consider my voice and the work and honing needed. See that term you said there, work. Yeah. You both of us, ears perked up when we said work. Yes, that's good. That's good. That's good. Somebody else says, I hate to hear my nose breathing on my content videos. LOL. I want to learn not to do that. Listen, you got to breathe though. We want you to stay alive.
You're like Kurt. I mean, like you use the Rodecaster as well. I believe it's like there's settings inside of some of these things that you can have that it won't even pick that up.
Exactly.
Unless you're really loud. It's basically just called noise cancellation. And some of these things like the Rodecaster has it's one of the best audio interfaces that are out there. I'll stick with that.
Especially for creators. Absolutely. For creators. No doubt about it. But some of the people are in the chat giving you your applause as well. Seesaw Studios says that was an excellent explanation, and that's why I'm anxious to get our final question on screen, which is this one. We want you to kind of walk us through how now let me be clear here, fam. I put the question on the screen. You can read it faster than I can say it, but this is I am not asking Earl to give us the secret sauce. I'm asking him to give us the basics, give us some of the tips, tricks, best practices, stuff that you would be able to find publicly out there from Earl. Yeah. And if you want a step-by-step guide, he's got 2 books, he's got a whole YouTube channel, he's got courses, and he has an entire group that you can join if you want to be successful at this. But the question is simply this, Earl: walk us through how we can become successful voice actors and some of the resources that you recommend.
Well, I mean, again, this book, Becoming a Voice Actor, I wrote this book this year specifically for someone that has not started in voiceover yet.
Yes.
This was actually the first book I wrote, which was back in 2017, Steps to Voiceover Success, which kind of breaks down these steps that need to happen. But if I were to talk to someone that is like, I'm thinking about getting into voiceover, the very first step, and I broke this down in this book into 4 steps, literally the 4 steps to get you on your way is the tagline. But first thing you have to do is decide this is what you want to do. That is literally the first step. I have to decide that this is what I'm going to hang my hat on. I'm going to go all in on this. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to do this thing. And then the second step is, okay, now that you've made the decision, let's get you a microphone and let's get you an audio interface. All right.
Hey,
so you made the
practical
decision.
steps. I love this. Go ahead.
Now let's get the gear that you're going to need in order to actually do this. So you've made the decision. You've got your mic and your audio interface, depending on if you need an XLR or a USB mic, but you got your gear. Now download Audacity, download a DAW. Right? Hook that stuff up. And the last thing is record your voice for the first time. These are the things, these 4 steps are the things that people don't do. They sit and think about it for a year and a half or 10 years. Oh yeah, my mom said I have a great voice. And this girl I met said I have a great voice. This guy said you should be doing commercials, and you don't go forward with it. You just keep that thought in your mind, but you never take any action. And that is the killer, is inaction. That's it. The killer is inaction. And so now that you have all of these things, and now you're actually ready to start, build, and grow because you have the gear that you need in order to be able to do this. Right. Now it is, okay, I've got to hone my voiceover skills. I've got to understand microphone technique. I've got to understand tonality and intonation and all of this. I have to understand how to act. I have to understand how to act depending on especially the genre that I want to go in as a voice actor.
Come on.
Now guess what I have to do? I've got to become, and I've been saying this forever. People used to call me crazy. I used, and I still say this, but now it's like well known. Look, if you want to do this thing called voiceover, you're going to have to build out your home studio, and you're going to have to become somewhat of an audio engineer. You're not going to escape it. You have to become somewhat of an audio engineer. So people will say, well, I'm not a techie person. Okay, well, don't do voiceover because it's techie. All right.
It is.
It is not just because, you have a James Earl Jones voice and you can, do this and that. That does not a good voice actor make. Okay. Because the voice actor of today is different from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was all about going into someone else's studio and having them record you. It is no longer that way.
That's not it.
You have a home studio in order to become a voice actor. So people will ask, look, and I'll tell you in a heartbeat, this ain't a cheap thing to get into. Now, you can actually have a very good home studio, all equipment inclusive, for under $1,000.
Yes.
You can have it for under $1,000. Now, the thing, if you're a gearhead like I am and you just like buying gear every other week or every other day, you just do it. right? You know, and I'm guilty. I mean, y'all pray for me. Yeah,
The prayers of the
you know,
saints.
you know, but this is a career
Oh man.
that you can make some significant money, if not only because of the fact most people will not do what is required to do it right.
Oof. Oh
But if you're just
man.
going to dab your toe in it and you're just going to, well, I'm just, I'll spend $30 on a mic and no, ain't gonna cut it. You can
Yeah.
practice with a $30 mic, practice all day long. You can practice, look, you can practice with your phone
Oof.
if you want to practice. But if you want to get work, it's gonna, you gotta get the stuff that you're in competition with me. Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's real.
So,
Real talk. Yeah. And
yeah.
listen, I think there's a couple of questions that I want to grab, but I think that the way you broke down that answer. In fact, we have Candid and in the chat saying this is perfect timing for me. I missed a lot, but I'll catch the beginning on the replay. No worries, Candid, and you are in the right place. And Earl is going to get you across the line. And we have shared the link to the book in the chat. So if you are in the chat, we did share the link in the chat there. I hope it went through. I think it did. Yeah, let me make sure. Maybe it didn't. Hold on here. Let's try that one more time.
24-hour boss is asking about a DAW. Yes, a DAW is the
Yes.
software you use to record your voice. Most voice actors start off with Audacity. I say start off with, you can use Audacity. It's a free DAW, digital audio workstation,
That's
but you
correct.
can work for your entire career, right? But it is a
Excellent.
free download. Yeah.
Excellent. No, that's good. That was the question I was gonna get to anyway. And my moderators are in the chat responding to that question as well. David Hunt is also a phenomenal musician, singer songwriter, and he's got an entire studio for this kind of thing. Hey, and Earl has sent in his pictures of his studio for our show on Wednesdays on Amazon Live as well, man. So we've highlighted some of his pictures of his studio for that as well. Keep the faith.
Oh,
With
you can look. I don't.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Hold on. Let me make it big. Let me make it
Right
big.
over here is my booth. This is my recording space is right over here.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah, and
And I see that. I see that's the new Roadcaster right there. I see that.
New Roadcaster Pro 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I see
Yeah.
a curved monitor. I see the SM7V on the Elgato LP arm. I see it, man.
Oh yeah.
I see it.
Oh, you got the. Oh, you don't miss the ATEM.
Oh, the ATEM and the Stream Deck. Come on with it, sir.
Right.
I love this, man. Listen, you guys, if you guys get us geeks geeking out, it'll get bad here in a second. Let me catch a couple of these. I'm definitely interested in doing voice work. This is helping. Keep the faith with Tori said that. All right. Linda says you actually have to get the hands on the job to improve your intentions on voice contact. I love that. Keep the Face also says thanks for showing the setup, Earl. We appreciate that. Listen, we always want to show off the setup. Dealcaster says respect for your work, Earl. Respect. Seesaw says I love the studio. 24-hour boss says the tips are fire. And I want to make sure that you guys get those. There was a couple of, let me make sure I didn't miss any of these questions. We got the digital audio workstation one. Miss Tanya TV asked this question. I think we'll close with this one. Okay. How will AI impact voice acting?
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
Look, you don't know. I deal with this all the time because voice actors are scared of AI. And I'm like, look, we're not going to get around AI coming and AI getting better. But I do not believe I'm 54. I got some time left. I don't think in my lifetime AI is going to be able to have the human element of knowing when to lower the voice to get more and better. You have to program that, right? But a human being brings something to the table that AI cannot. And we're still not at the level of AI being indistinguishable from a human voice.
It's not.
We're not there right now. And right now, I think people are worried about things that haven't even happened yet. It's like, now you're going to have some people out here that don't mind an AI voice. Yeah, I'll just use an AI voice. That's fine. That's just not your target audience. That's all.
That's all.
But that could be for anything we're talking about. I mean, but to be fearful of AI today is not necessary. It's just not. A computer cannot do what I do or other professional voice actors do. They just can't.
You know, I have a good friend who is what I would call an audiophile, and he has a extensive collection of vinyl. And to the average person who's not an audiophile, vinyl is dead. Totally. And yet you have this gentleman who is not alone. Let me just throw that out there. He's part of a large group of people who just prefer to hear it that way.
Wow. Yeah.
And we have done all manner of things to try and mimic the sound of authentic vinyl. Still not quite there. And we're talking years at this point. And so I say all that to kind of add on to what Earl is saying. I think we're not there yet, y'all. and when there is this critical mass of people who are like, I'm okay with the AI voice, there's still going to be a market for a real human being to voice that project. And there's still going to be, and to be quite honest with you, because it's more rare, it's going to be even more paying. It's going to be more paying. Like, those vinyl records are now quite the pretty penny. You can't buy them for what you would stream them for, right? So it's the experience now. It's now an experiential thing, as opposed to this is the only way that we can get this done. And I think we have to differentiate those things. AI is going to be really good at getting a lot of the busy work done for us, a lot of the automation type things that we need to do, especially for us as content creators. There's a myriad of things that I do on a regular week-to-week basis that AI is just going to be perfect for. But you know what AI is never going to do? AI is never going to show up on camera like I am right now and be live for me. Ever. Exactly. And so I still have a purpose. I still have a role to play. And I really believe that if you're interested in voice acting, the furthest thing from your mind right now should be, well, how is AI going to impact this field or this vocation or this discipline that I'm picking up? Master the craft. And I think Earl is sharing with you some of the things that you need to do there. Man, Earl, man, listen, I don't know how the time flies like this, brother.
Oh yeah, we had a good time though. We had a good time, most definitely.
Yeah, man. Keep the Faith says you both have great voices. David Hunt says I could still buy vinyl at local music store today. I love that. Miss Tanya TV says respect, brothers. Keep leading the masses. Thank you so much, Miss Tanya TV. Earl, I want to make sure that we are plugging your items. I have dropped your link to your book in the chat. We even brought it up on screen for people to see. I want to bring that up again. This is his website, earlhallstudio.com. Earlhallstudio.com.
This is for earlhallstudio.com is really for the person that wants to hire me. If you want to learn voiceover, it's stepstovoiceoversuccess.com.
Let me put that in.
Yeah, www.stepstovoiceoversuccess.com is where you want to go to get training. I've got a free group. You can get there directly by joining the masterclass. I give you free training. We do a live session with my group every Saturday. We do a live Zoom session to answer questions. It's called my AMA for voice actors that,
love it.
Got a question, I've got an answer for you. Yeah, if you want to learn voiceover, just go to Steps to Voiceover Success. You want to hire me, it's earlhallstudio.com, and I am available for hire.
Listen, I want to make sure that my mods get that in the chat. Steps to voiceoversuccess.com, just the way that those words are spelled. If you can drop that in the chat for the people, that'll be great. David Hunt says this is the way, the Mandalorian. No, but I love what we're seeing here. What I love about bringing people like Earl on the show and introducing them to my audience, of course, there's cross pollination happening here as well. I know there's many people from your audience that are in the chat as well. Yeah. But what I love about bringing people like you on is that you're not just coming with something that is powerful. It's practical. There's step by step, but you also have built out an infrastructure. of
Yeah.
resources, places that people can go. There are 2 books. There is Earl Hall Studio. That's if you want him as a voice actor, but there's also steps to voiceoversuccess.com. And that is where you can learn how to do this for yourself. This is, in terms of creating an ecosystem, this is what it's about. And I think there's probably another show that we need to do, Earl, where we have you come back and just talk about building the ecosystem, because that in and of itself is its own practice. It is its own thing. and listen, we could geek out on that just as much, if not more, than on the tech, because I know that the back end of this site, it looks to me like it's Kajabi.
It is.
I know that because that's what my website is. So you can tell Kajabi has a distinct look to it. And I love the way that it flows, and it just kind of gives people that perspective in terms of here's all the things that I have and the things that I offer. So I think that's absolutely awesome. Guys, we have had a phenomenal time. I want to say a word of thanks to Earl for coming through and just dropping some knowledge on us tonight, sharing with us the content side of voice acting. This was the title of our show today, and we listen. I pray that we delivered. I pray that we shared some insight and some perspectives with you. But Earl, man, can't thank you enough for coming through tonight and hanging out with us.
I appreciate you and your audience, and my man Dave Hunt in the room as well. So
absolutely. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna go ahead and close this thing out. Fam, listen, it is my absolute privilege and honor to serve as your host on this wild ride we call How It All Works. Man, the content side of voice acting. You didn't know, before this show, you didn't know that voice acting was content creation, did you? Now, maybe you did. But I guarantee you, throughout your week this week, throughout your next month, even going into the summer, you're going to start hearing voices everywhere. You're going to say to yourself, man, voice acting is literally 360. It's all around us. And the reason why I wanted to come back to that point, even as we get ready to land, as we get ready to close, is I want to make sure you understand that there is an opportunity. Voice acting is a thing because everybody has a voice, and your voice is almost like your fingerprint. No 2 are exactly the same. And your voice might be the one that somebody's looking for, right? Your voice might be the one that they heard in their head. You heard Earl say that when they came up with this script, and it's like, I want somebody to voice this. What if you were to put your voice out there as something that others can pay for? This is how it all works, fam. It's your boy, Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speaker Preacher. Thankful for your time and attention. We do not take that for granted here. And hoping that you'll come and rock with us next week as we dive into businesses and content entrepreneurs. Are they incubators? Make it a great one, fam. Grace and peace. And we'll see you in the next one. Later. Oh, man. You know what it is, fam. We're closing it out. But for the replay squad, catch one of these videos.